Chapter 1. The Worst Day. Maya Winters stood in front of the full-length mirror, her hands trembling as she smoothed down the white lace of her wedding dress for the 100th time. Today was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Today, she was supposed to marry her fated mate, Ethan Cross. She'd known Ethan was her mate since her 18th birthday 3 years ago, when the mate bond had snapped into place during the pack's Harvest Moon celebration. He was the beta's son, strong and handsome, and when he'd felt the bond too, Maya thought all her dreams had come true. They'd courted for 2 years under the watchful eyes of the Silver Pine Pack, following all the proper traditions. The engagement had been announced a year ago, and today, finally, they would complete the mate bond and begin their life together. "You look beautiful, Maya," her mother said softly from the doorway, though there was something strained in her voice. Maya turned, offering a nervous smile. "I can't believe it's finally happening. After 3 years of waiting." "Maya," her mother's voice cracked. "Sweetheart, there's something I need to tell you." The tone made Maya's stomach drop. "What? What's wrong? Is Ethan okay?" "Ethan is fine." Her mother stepped into the room, closing the door behind her. Her eyes were red, as if she'd been crying. "But there's been a complication." "What kind of complication?" Maya's wolf stirred uneasily inside her. Before her mother could answer, the door burst open. Maya's older sister, Lydia, stood in the doorway wearing an identical wedding dress. The exact same dress Maya was wearing. "Lydia?" Maya stared in confusion. "What are you doing? Why are you?" "I'm so sorry, Maya," Lydia said, but she didn't sound sorry. She sounded excited, breathless. But Ethan felt it. Last night, at the rehearsal dinner. The mate bond. With me. The world tilted. "That's not possible," Maya whispered. "Ethan is my mate. We've been bonded for 3 years." "A false bond," Lydia interrupted. "It happens sometimes, especially with siblings. The moon goddess was just waiting until I turned 21. And last night, when I came of age, the real bond appeared." Maya looked at her mother, desperate for her to deny it, to say this was some kind of sick joke. But her mother's face was filled with pity and resignation. "The Alpha has verified it," her mother said quietly. "Ethan and Lydia are true mates. The bond you felt with Ethan was a mistake. A preliminary connection that wasn't meant to last." "No." Maya shook her head, backing away. "No, that's not true. I feel him. I can feel Ethan right now, through the bond." "That bond will fade," Lydia said, and there was something almost gleeful in her tone. "The pack elders explained it. Once Ethan and I complete our true mate bond, your false one will disappear completely." Maya's legs gave out. She sat down hard on the bed, her white dress pooling around her like a mockery. "Today? You're going to, today?" "Well, everything is already prepared," Lydia said, gesturing at the decorated hall downstairs, the assembled pack members, the feast that had been prepared. "It seems silly to waste it all. Alpha Grant has agreed that Ethan and I should go forward with the ceremony. Today." "You're taking my wedding," Maya said numbly. "You're taking my mate and my wedding." "He was never really yours," Lydia replied, and for just a moment, Maya saw something cold and calculating in her sister's eyes. Something that made her wonder if this was really the moon goddess's will, or if Lydia had wanted this all along. After all, Lydia had always been the favorite. The beautiful one, the talented one, the daughter their parents were proud of. Maya was just ordinary. A decent wolf, a decent fighter, nothing special. Of course Ethan would prefer Lydia. Of course the moon goddess would choose Lydia. "I need to speak to Ethan," Maya said, standing up on shaking legs. "I need to hear this from him." "He's waiting downstairs," her mother said gently. "But Maya, you need to prepare yourself. He's made his choice." Maya pushed past them both, her wedding dress rustling as she ran down the hallway. She could feel the bond with Ethan, could feel him in the pack house below, and she followed that feeling like a lifeline. She found him in the groom's preparation room, adjusting his tie in the mirror. He was as handsome as ever, sandy blonde hair, blue eyes, the strong build of a warrior. When he saw her in the doorway, something flickered across his face. Guilt, maybe. Or pity. Maya, he said. Tell me it's not true, she begged. Tell me you didn't feel a bond with Lydia. Ethan was quiet for a long moment. Then, I can't lie to you. The bond with Lydia, it's stronger than anything I've ever felt. What we had, Maya, it was real. But it was incomplete. Lydia is my true mate. We've been together for 3 years, Maya's voice broke. We were going to be married today. You told me you loved me. I did love you, Ethan said. I do love you in a way. But Maya, you have to understand, when a wolf finds their true mate, there's no choice. The bond demands everything. So that's it? Tears were streaming down Maya's face now. You're just going to marry my sister? Today? In the ceremony that was meant for us. I'm sorry, Ethan said, and he actually sounded like he meant it. I never wanted to hurt you. But I can't fight the mate bond. No wolf can. Maya felt something inside her shatter. The bond she'd felt with Ethan, the connection that had guided her for 3 years, suddenly felt like a lie. Like she'd been living in a dream, and now reality was crashing down around her. I won't watch, she said, her voice hollow. I won't stand there and watch you marry her. Alpha Grant wants you there, Ethan said quietly. He says the pack needs to see that you accept this. That you support the true mate bond. Support it. Maya let out a harsh laugh. You want me to smile and celebrate while you marry my sister in my dress, with my flowers, speaking my vows? Maya, I hate you, she whispered. I hate you both. She ran. She ran out of the pack house, away from the decorated hall, away from the pack members already starting to arrive. Her white wedding dress caught on branches as she fled into the forest, tearing and staining with mud, but she didn't care. She ran until her lungs burned, until her legs gave out, until she collapsed in a clearing deep in the woods. And then she wept. She wept for the mate she'd lost, for the wedding that would never happen, for the humiliation of being replaced by her own sister. She wept until there were no tears left, until she was just an empty shell in a ruined wedding dress, alone in the forest. Well, a deep voice said from behind her. This is unexpected. Maya's head snapped up. A man stood at the edge of the clearing, watching her with intense golden eyes. He was tall, easily over 6.5 feet, with dark hair and a presence that made the air feel heavy with power. He wore simple black clothes, but there was something about the way he carried himself that screamed dominance. Who are you? Maya asked, quickly wiping at her face. This is Silverpine territory. You're trespassing. The man tilted his head, studying her with those unsettling golden eyes. I'm aware of where I am. I'm here to meet with your Alpha. I'm Zander Hale, Alpha of the Shadowfang Pack. Maya's breath caught. Everyone knew about Shadowfang Pack. They were the most powerful pack in the region, some said in the entire country. And their Alpha, Zander Hale, was legendary. Ruthless in battle, brilliant in strategy, and unmated despite being over 200 years old. I apologize, Alpha Hale. Maya scrambled to her feet, trying to curtsy in her ruined dress. I didn't mean to be disrespectful. I was just running away from your own wedding, it appears, Zander said, his eyes taking in her torn dress, her tear-stained face. Though I'm curious why a bride would be fleeing into the forest. Fresh tears threatened to spill over. It's not my wedding anymore. Zander's eyes narrowed. Explain. Maybe it was because he was a stranger. Maybe it was because she had no pride left to preserve. But Maya found herself telling him everything about the mate bond with Ethan, about Lydia turning 21 and suddenly being declared his true mate, about how her wedding was being given to her sister in a matter of hours. When she finished, Zander's expression was dark. And Alpha Grant allowed this? Encouraged it, Maya said bitterly. He said it would be wasteful not to use the ceremony that was already planned. He said I should be honored to step aside for a true mate bond. Honored, Zander repeated, his voice carrying an edge that made Maya's wolf sit up and take notice. To be humiliated in front of your entire pack? I'm nobody important, Maya said quietly. Just a regular pack member. My feelings don't matter compared to the mate bond. Zander was quiet for a long moment, his golden eyes studying her with an intensity that made her skin prickle. Then he said, "What's your name?" "Maya." "Maya Winters." "Maya Winters," he repeated, as if tasting her name. "How old are you?" 21. "I turned 21 3 months ago." Something flickered across Zander's face, surprise, perhaps, or recognition. "And you felt the mate bond with this Ethan 3 years ago, when you turned 18? "Yes. But he didn't feel a bond with your sister until last night, when she turned 21? Maya nodded, not understanding where he was going with this. Zander stepped closer, and Maya's breath caught. Up close, he was even more imposing, not just physically, but in the sheer force of his presence. Her wolf, which had been curled up in grief, suddenly perked up with interest. "Tell me, Maya Winters," Zander said softly. "Do you feel anything right now?" "Anything at all." "I don't," Maya started, then stopped. Because she did feel something. A pull. A recognition. A warmth spreading through her chest that had nothing to do with the fading bond with Ethan and everything to do with the man standing in front of her. No, it wasn't possible. "You feel it," Zander said, and it wasn't a question. His golden eyes had gone wolfish intense. "I can see it on your face." "This isn't real," Maya whispered. "I can't have another mate bond. I'm already bonded to a wolf who was never truly yours," Zander interrupted. "Maya, I've lived for over 200 years. I've waited centuries for my mate. And I know without a doubt that you're her." The bond snapped into place. It was nothing like what she'd felt with Ethan. That had been warm, gentle, like slipping into a comfortable embrace. This was lightning and fire, a connection so powerful it nearly brought Maya to her knees. She could feel Zander's wolf recognizing hers, could feel the mate bond settling into place with absolute certainty. "Oh goddess," she breathed. Zander caught her as her legs buckled, his arms strong around her. "Easy. I know it's overwhelming." "I don't understand," Maya said, looking up into those golden eyes. "How's this possible? I was supposed to be mated to Ethan." "You were never supposed to be mated to him," Zander said firmly. "The moon goddess doesn't make mistakes, Maya. Whatever you felt with Ethan was a shadow, a preparation. This," he gestured between them, "is real." "But Lydia was also never meant for Ethan," Zander said. "I suspect what they're feeling is the same false bond you experienced. The question is, why would the moon goddess create such confusion?" Maya's mind was reeling. The bond with Zander was so strong, so right, that it made everything she'd felt with Ethan seem pale in comparison. But that didn't make sense. Bonds didn't work that way. Or did they? "There's a prophecy," Zander said quietly. "An old one, from the founding of the packs. It speaks of a Luna who would be tested, who would face betrayal and loss before finding her true mate. A Luna who would help unite the packs and usher in a new era." "That's just a story," Maya said. "A legend. Perhaps." Zander's hand came up to cup her face gently, his thumb brushing away a tear she hadn't realized was falling. "Or perhaps you're standing in a ruined wedding dress in the forest, because the moon goddess needed you here, at this exact moment, to meet me." Maya's breath caught. Could it be true? Could everything with Ethan have been leading to this moment? "I don't know what to do," she admitted. "My pack is waiting for a wedding. Ethan and Lydia are." "Let them have their false bond," Zander said. "They'll figure out the truth eventually. But you, Maya Winters, have a choice to make." "What choice?" "You can go back to your pack," Zander said. "Watch your former mate marry your sister. Accept your place as the rejected, pitted wolf who lost everything. Or, Zander's eyes blazed gold. "Or you can let me claim you right now. In front of your entire pack. Let me show them what a true mate bond looks like. Let me make you my Luna and give you the life you deserve." Maya's heart was racing. "You want to claim me? Today? But we just met." "The mate bond doesn't lie," Zander said. "I've waited 200 years for you, Maya. I'm not letting you go. But the choice has to be yours. I won't force this on you." Maya looked down at her ruined wedding dress, thought about Ethan and Lydia wearing matching smiles as they spoke vows that should have been hers. Thought about her pack members whispering about poor Maya, replaced by her own sister. Then she looked up at Zander, this powerful, legendary alpha who was offering her everything. If I say yes, she said slowly. If I let you claim me, what happens? Xander's smile was fierce. Then I walk into that pack house with the most beautiful woman I've ever seen on my arm. I announce to your alpha and your pack that I've found my mate. And I make it very clear that anyone who has disrespected you has disrespected me. They'll think I'm crazy, Maya said. Moving on so fast. Choosing a stranger over Ethan. Let them think what they want, Zander said. The question is, what do you want, Maya? What did she want? She wanted to stop feeling like she wasn't good enough. She wanted to stop being the one left behind. She wanted someone who chose her first, who looked at her like she was precious, who made her feel like the bond between them was unbreakable. She wanted Zander. Claim me, she whispered. Xander's eyes flashed gold. Are you certain? I'm certain. Then I need you to understand what this means, Zander said, his voice taking on a formal tone. If I claim you, Maya Winters, you become mine. My mate. My Luna. You'll leave this pack and join Shadowfang. You'll stand beside me as I lead one of the most powerful packs in the world. Are you ready for that? Maya thought about it for exactly 3 seconds. Then she stood on her toes and pressed her lips to his. The kiss was electric, the mate bond singing between them with a rightness that made everything else fall away. Xander's arms wrapped around her, pulling her close, and Maya felt something inside her settle into place. This was where she was meant to be. With him. When they pulled apart, Zander rested his forehead against hers. I'm going to make you so happy, little mate. I promise you that. I believe you, Maya said, and she did. Good. Zander straightened, offering his arm. Now, shall we go interrupt a wedding? Maya looked down at her torn, muddy dress. I look terrible. You look perfect, Zander said firmly. You look like a woman who fought through hell to get to her true mate. And I'm going to make sure everyone knows it. Taking a deep breath, Maya placed her hand on his arm. Together, they walked back toward the pack house, toward the wedding that was about to become far more interesting than anyone had planned. Chapter 2. The Claiming. The pack house was decorated with white flowers and ribbons, exactly as Maya had envisioned. Pack members milled about in their formal attire, waiting for the ceremony to begin. As Maya and Zander approached, heads began to turn. Is that Maya? Someone whispered. Who is that with her? Why is she covered in mud? Alpha Grant emerged from the main hall, his expression darkening when he saw Maya. He was an older wolf, gray-haired and set in his ways, and he'd made it clear he found Maya's distress over the mate bond switch to be unnecessarily dramatic. Maya, he said, his voice carrying a note of warning. What are you doing? The ceremony is about to begin, and He stopped as his eyes landed on Zander. Recognition and shock flashed across his face. Alpha Hale. Alpha Grant, Zander said coolly. I apologize for arriving unannounced. I was on my way to our scheduled meeting when I encountered your pack member in the forest. In quite a distressed state, I might add. Grant's face flushed. Yes, well, there have been some complications with the mate bonds. These things happen. Do they? Xander's voice was dangerously soft. I'm curious, Alpha Grant. Is it common practice in your pack to humiliate pack members by giving their weddings to their siblings? The crowd had grown silent, everyone straining to hear the conversation. Grant's jaw clenched. The mate bond is sacred, Alpha Hale. When Ethan Cross discovered his true mate was Lydia Winters, it would have been wrong to deny them. Maya understands this. Does she? Zander looked at Maya, his golden eyes warm. Maya, do you understand? Maya felt every eye on her. She could see Ethan and Lydia emerging from the hall, both in their wedding attire, both looking shocked to see her. Her parents stood nearby, her mother's face filled with pity, her father's with disapproval. This was it. The moment she either accepted her humiliation or chose herself. I understand that I was lied to for 3 years, Maya said, her voice stronger than she expected. I understand that the mate bond one felt with Ethan was false. But I also understand something else now. She turned to look at Zander, at this powerful alpha who had appeared in her darkest moment like something out of a dream. I've found my true mate, she said. The crowd erupted into shocked murmurs. Ethan's face went pale. "That's not possible," Lydia said, stepping forward. "Maya, you can't just claim someone else as your mate because you're upset." "I'm not claiming it," Maya interrupted. "The moon goddess is." She turned back to Zander. "Tell them. Please." Xander's smile was fierce and proud. He stepped forward, addressing the entire pack with the commanding presence of an alpha. "I am Zander Hale, Alpha of the Shadowfang Pack," he announced. "I have lived for over 200 years, waiting for the moon goddess to bless me with a mate. Today, in your forest, I found her. Maya Winters is my true mate, and I claim her before the moon goddess and before all of you as witnesses." The silence was deafening. Then Alpha Grant spoke, his voice uncertain. "Alpha Hale, with all respect, Maya has been bonded to Ethan Cross for 3 years. Even if that bond was false, it takes time for such connections to fade. She couldn't possibly feel a new mate bond so quickly. Can't she?" Xander's eyes flashed gold. "Tell me, Alpha Grant, how long did it take for Ethan to recognize Lydia as his mate once she came of age?" "It was immediate," Grant admitted. "Exactly," Zander said. "True mate bonds don't wait. They don't develop slowly. They simply are." He looked at Maya, his expression softening. "From the moment I saw her, I knew. And if you don't believe me, perhaps you'd like to challenge the mate bond? Test its authenticity." Grant paled. Challenging a mate bond was serious business, requiring verification from pack elders and sometimes even the Council of Alphas. It was not done lightly. "That won't be necessary," Grant said quickly. "If you say Maya is your mate, Alpha Hale, then I have no reason to doubt it." However, he glanced at Ethan and Lydia. "We do have a ceremony prepared. Perhaps we could postpone." "No," Zander said flatly. "I will claim my mate today. Now. In front of everyone." Maya's breath caught. "Zander, unless you've changed your mind?" Zander looked at her, and she saw the question in his eyes. He was giving her one last chance to back out, to choose the safe path. Maya looked at Ethan. The bond she'd felt with him for 3 years was already fading, becoming a distant echo. She felt nothing when she looked at him now except disappointment and residual hurt. Then she looked at Zander. The mate bond between them burned bright and certain, a connection that felt like coming home. "I haven't changed my mind," she said. Xander's smile could have lit up the night. "Then we'll need a witness. Alpha Grant, if you would do the honors." Grant looked like he wanted to refuse, but denying such a request from an alpha as powerful as Zander would be a serious insult. "Of course," he said stiffly. The claiming ceremony was simple and ancient. It required a witness, the exchange of vows, and the marking bite that would bond them permanently. Maya had studied it extensively when preparing for her wedding to Ethan, never imagining she'd be going through it with someone else. The crowd parted, forming a circle around Maya and Zander. She could see Lydia's face, pale with shock and perhaps envy. Ethan looked stunned, as if he couldn't quite believe what was happening. Zander took Maya's hands in his golden eyes locked on hers. "Maya Winters, I claim you as my mate, my Luna, my partner in all things. I vow to protect you, to honor you, to stand beside you for all the days of my life. Will you accept this claim?" Maya's heart was pounding. This was really happening. She was about to be mated to an alpha she'd known for less than an hour, in front of her entire pack, in a ruined wedding dress. And yet it felt more right than anything ever had. "I accept," she said clearly. "Zander Hale, I claim you as my mate, my alpha, my partner in all things. I vow to stand beside you, to support you, to be the Luna your pack deserves. Will you accept this claim?" "I accept," Zander said, his voice resonating with power and certainty. Alpha Grant stepped forward. "By the power granted to me as Alpha of the Silver Pine Pack, I witness this mate bond. Do you both consent to the marking?" "I consent," they said in unison. Zander pulled Maya close, his hand cradling the back of her neck. She tilted her head, exposing her throat in the ultimate gesture of trust. For a moment, she saw his eyes flash full gold, his wolf rising to the surface. Then his teeth sank into the curve where her neck met her shoulder. The pain was sharp and immediate, but it was overwhelmed by pleasure so intense Maya gasped. The mate bond, which had been strong before, suddenly exploded into something all-consuming. She could feel Xander's wolf claiming hers, could feel their souls intertwining, could feel the permanent, unbreakable connection settling into place. When Xander pulled back, his lips stained with her blood, Maya saw wonder in his eyes. "You're mine," he said softly. "Finally, after all these years, you're mine." "I'm yours," Maya agreed, reaching up to touch the mark he'd left on her neck. It was already healing, but it would leave a scar, a permanent sign that she belonged to Zander Hale. Xander turned to address the crowd, his arm around Maya's waist. "Let it be known that Maya Winters is now Maya Hale, Luna of the Shadowfang Pack. Any disrespect shown to her is disrespect shown to me." His eyes swept over the crowd, lingering on Ethan and Lydia. This includes those who would cast her aside for their own convenience. Ethan had the grace to look ashamed. Lydia, however, lifted her chin defiantly. "We followed the mate bond." The moon goddess made her choice clear, Xander interrupted. "Maya was never meant for Ethan. She was meant for me. And you," he looked at Lydia with those intimidating golden eyes, "should be very careful about claiming to speak for the moon goddess. False mate bonds are rare, but they do happen. Usually when someone is trying to force a connection that isn't truly there." Lydia's face went white. "What are you suggesting?" "I'm not suggesting anything," Xander said smoothly. "I'm simply noting that true mate bonds are unmistakable. The one between Maya and me, for instance." He pulled Maya closer, the bond between them practically visible in the air. "Can you say the same about yours?" Ethan and Lydia exchanged glances, and for the first time, Maya saw uncertainty in their expressions. "We feel the bond," Ethan said, but he didn't sound entirely convinced. "Then I wish you well," Xander said. "Alpha Grant, thank you for witnessing the claiming. Maya and I will be leaving now. She'll need to collect her belongings." "Leaving?" Maya's mother stepped forward, tears in her eyes. "Maya, you can't just leave. This is your home, your pack." "Was my home," Maya corrected gently. "I'm Luna of Shadowfang now, mother. My place is with my mate." "But we haven't even talked," her mother protested. "You can't make such a huge decision so quickly." "Why not?" Maya asked, and she heard the edge in her own voice. "You all expected me to accept Ethan marrying Lydia with only a day's notice. You expected me to smile and step aside for the true mate bond. Why is it different when I find my actual true mate?" Her mother had no answer for that. Maya's father, who had been silent until now, stepped forward. "If this is what you want, Maya, then you have our blessing. But know that you're always welcome back here if things don't work out." "They'll work out," Xander said firmly. "Maya is my mate. I would die before I let her go." Something warm bloomed in Maya's chest at his words, at the absolute certainty in his voice. "I'll need about an hour to pack," Maya said. "Will you wait for me?" Xander smiled. "I've waited 200 years, little mate. I can wait an hour." Maya's room looked exactly as she'd left it that morning a lifetime ago, it seemed now. Her suitcase, packed for the honeymoon that would never happen, sat beside her bed. Her walls were covered with photos of her and Ethan, moments from the 3 years they'd spent together. She started taking them down. "Maya?" A soft voice came from the doorway. It was Ethan. Maya didn't turn around. "You shouldn't be here. It's bad luck for the groom to see the bride before the wedding." Or wait. "I'm not the bride anymore, am I?" "Maya, please. I need to explain." "There's nothing to explain," Maya said, pulling down another photo. "You felt a bond with Lydia. You chose her. It's done." "I never wanted to hurt you," Ethan said. "What we had was real, Maya. I did love you." Past tense, Maya noted. "Because you love Lydia now." Ethan stopped. "I don't know what I feel anymore." When Lydia came of age, the bond with her was so strong, so immediate. "I thought it had to be real. But now, seeing you with him, seeing how you two look at each other." He trailed off. "Did you really just meet today?" "Yes." "And you're sure he's your mate? Not just rebound attraction or wanting to get back at me?" Maya finally turned to look at him. The bond one feel with Zander makes everything I felt with you seem like a pale imitation, Ethan. I'm not going to apologize for that or pretend otherwise to make you feel better about your choices. Ethan flinched. I deserved that. Yes, you did. Maya pulled down the last photo, their engagement picture, and dropped it in the trash. I hope you and Lydia are happy together. I genuinely do. But I can't be here anymore. Not after this. I understand. Ethan moved toward the door, then stopped. For what it's worth, Maya, I think you're making the right choice. Zander Hale is a good alpha. A better one than I could ever be. You'll be happy with him. I know, Maya said softly. After Ethan left, Maya finished packing. She didn't take much, mostly clothes and a few personal items. Everything else could stay. She was starting a new life, and she didn't want to drag the old one with her. Lydia appeared just as Maya was zipping up her suitcase. Unlike Ethan, she didn't look remorseful. She looked calculating. So you're really going through with this, Lydia said, leaning against the doorframe. Running off with a stranger. My mate, Maya corrected. And yes, I am. You know this makes you look desperate, right? Lydia said. Like you couldn't handle being rejected, so you latched onto the first powerful male who showed you attention. Maya studied her sister. They'd never been close, too much competition between them, too many comparisons. But she'd never realized how much Lydia actually disliked her until now. Why do you care what I look like? Maya asked. You got what you wanted. Ethan, the wedding, the status of being mated to the beta son. Why does it matter what I do? Lydia's expression flickered. It doesn't. I'm just trying to look out for you, little sister. Zander Hale has a reputation. He's ruthless. Dangerous. You're going to be miserable with him. Am I? Maya tilted her head. Or are you worried that I'm going to be Luna of the most powerful pack in the region while you're just the beta's mate in a mid-level pack? Lydia's face flushed with anger. You think you're so special now just because some alpha claimed you. No, Maya interrupted. I don't think I'm special. But I think the moon goddess knew what she was doing when she brought Zander and me together. And I think you know it too. That's why you're here, trying to plant seeds of doubt. You're making a mistake, Lydia hissed. Maybe, Maya said, picking up her suitcase. But it's my mistake to make. Just like marrying Ethan is yours. She brushed past her sister and didn't look back. Zander was waiting in the main hall, exactly where she'd left him. When he saw her with her suitcase, his expression softened. Ready? He asked. Ready, Maya confirmed. They walked out of the pack house together. Most of the pack had dispersed, though a few lingered to watch Maya leave. She could feel their judgment, their speculation, their pity. She didn't care anymore. Outside, a sleek black SUV was waiting, along with two other vehicles. Several large, intimidating-looking wolves stood nearby, Zander's pack members, Maya assumed. Your escort, she asked. I don't travel alone, Zander said. Especially not when I'm bringing home the most precious thing I've ever found. He opened the car door for her, ever the gentleman, and Maya slid inside. The interior was luxurious, all leather and dark wood. This was a far cry from Ethan's beat-up truck. As they pulled away from the pack house, Maya looked back one last time. She saw Ethan and Lydia standing in the doorway, watching her leave. For just a moment, she felt a pang of loss for the life she'd thought she would have. Then Zander's hand found hers, their fingers lacing together, and the mate bond hummed with contentment. No regrets? Zander asked softly. Maya turned to look at him. This powerful alpha who had chosen her, who had claimed her in front of everyone, who was taking her home to be his Luna. No regrets, she said. And she meant it. Chapter 3. Welcome to Shadowfang. The drive to Shadowfang territory took about 3 hours. During that time, Zander told Maya about his pack, preparing her for what she was about to walk into. Shadowfang was one of the oldest and most powerful packs in North America. They had over 500 members, controlled a vast territory of forests and mountains, and were known for producing some of the finest warriors in the werewolf world. Zander had been alpha for over a century, taking the position when his father had been killed in a challenge. A century? Maya's eyes widened. How old are you exactly? 237, Zander said. I know that's probably strange for you. Most wolves your age haven't even met someone over 100. It's definitely different, Maya admitted. But it makes sense. You've had a long time to build your pack into what it is. I have, Zander agreed. But without a Luna, there's always been something missing. The pack needs a female alpha, someone to balance my leadership, someone to care for the members in ways I can't. I don't know if I can do that, Maya said quietly. I'm nobody special, Zander. I'm just a regular pack member from a mid-level pack. I don't have any special training or... You're my mate, Zander interrupted gently. That makes you special. And you don't need special training to be a good Luna. You just need to care about the pack, to be fair and kind, to stand beside me. Can you do that? Maya thought about it. I can try. That's all I ask. Zander brought her hand to his lips, pressing a kiss to her knuckles. The pack is going to be surprised when I bring you home. I've been unmated for so long, most of them had given up hope. Will they accept me? Maya asked. An outsider who you've known for less than a day? They'll accept you because you're my mate, Zander said firmly. And because once they get to know you, they'll love you as much as I do. The words made Maya's heart skip. You love me? Already? Zander's expression was serious. The mate bond doesn't create love, Maya. But it recognizes it. From the moment I saw you in that clearing, broken and hurting, I felt it. The certainty that you were the one I'd been waiting for. That's love, even if we haven't had time to nurture it yet. Maya swallowed hard. I feel it too. It's terrifying. Love often is, Zander said. But I promise you, little mate, I will spend every day proving I'm worthy of yours. They crossed into Shadowfang territory just as the sun was setting. Maya could feel the difference immediately. The air felt charged with power, the forest denser and wilder. This was old territory, claimed and held for generations. The pack house came into view, and Maya's breath caught. It wasn't just a house, it was a compound. Multiple buildings arranged in a semicircle, all built from dark wood and stone, with a massive main hall at the center. It looked like something out of a fantasy novel. Home, Zander said, and there was pride in his voice. What do you think? It's incredible, Maya breathed. I've never seen anything like it. As the car pulled up to the main hall, wolves began emerging from the various buildings. Lots of wolves. They gathered in the courtyard, clearly curious about their alpha's return. They're all here to see you, Zander said. I mind-linked the pack during the drive, told them I was bringing home my mate. No pressure, Maya muttered. Zander laughed. They're going to love you. Trust me. He exited the car first, then offered his hand to help Maya out. The moment she stepped into view, a hush fell over the assembled wolves. Maya could feel their eyes on her, assessing, judging. Shadowfang Pack, Zander's voice rang out, commanding instant attention. I present to you Maya Hale, my mate, and your Luna. Silence. Then, as one, every wolf in the courtyard dropped to one knee, their heads bowed in submission and respect. Maya stared in shock. She'd never seen anything like it. In her old pack, respect had to be earned over time. Here, it was given immediately, purely because she was Zander's mate. Rise, Zander commanded. The wolf stood, and he continued, I expect you all to treat Luna Maya with the respect and honor she deserves. She is new to our pack, new to her role as Luna, and I trust you will support her as she learns. Yes, Alpha, came the unified response. An older woman stepped forward from the crowd. She had gray-streaked dark hair and kind eyes, and something about her presence suggested she held a position of importance. Alpha Zander, she said, bowing her head respectfully. Welcome home. And welcome, Luna Maya. I am Magda, the head housekeeper and den mother. If you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you, Maya said, finding her voice. It's nice to meet you. Magda smiled warmly. I've prepared the Luna's quarters for you. I suspect you'd like to rest after your journey. That would be wonderful, Maya admitted. Zander's hand found the small of her back, a gesture of support and possession. Magda will show you to our rooms. I need to meet with my beta and update him on today's events. Will you be all right? I'll be fine, Maya said, though she wasn't entirely sure that was true. Zander leaned down, pressing a kiss to her forehead. Through the mate bond, she felt his reassurance, his confidence in her. I'll find you in an hour or so. If you need me before that, just call through the bond. I'll hear you. After Zander left, Magda led Maya into the main hall. The interior was just as impressive as the exterior, high ceilings with exposed beams, a massive stone fireplace, and artwork depicting wolves and forests. The Alpha's quarters are on the top floor, Magda explained as they climbed a wide staircase. The Luna traditionally has her own suite connected to the Alpha's, though of course you're welcome to share his bed whenever you wish. Maya's face heated. She hadn't really thought about that aspect of mating. She and Zander were bonded now, permanently connected. Eventually, they would need to consummate that bond. The thought made her nervous and excited in equal measure. Magda showed her to a beautiful suite of rooms, a bedroom, a sitting area, a bathroom that was bigger than her entire bedroom back home. Everything was decorated in rich blues and grays, elegant without being ostentatious. These were the last Luna's rooms, Magda said softly. Alpha Zander's mother. She passed nearly 100 years ago, and no one has used these rooms since. They're beautiful, Maya said, running her hand over the soft fabric of the bed's canopy. There are clothes in the closet, Magda continued. I took the liberty of having some things brought up in various sizes. We'll need to have you properly fitted, of course, but these should do for now. Maya opened the closet to find it full of beautiful dresses, casual clothes, everything she could possibly need. Thank you, Magda. This is incredibly kind. It's my pleasure, Luna. Magda smiled. I've been waiting a long time for our Alpha to find his mate. You're an answer to many prayers. After Magda left, Maya explored her new rooms, trying to process everything that had happened. This morning, she'd been preparing to marry Ethan. Now she was Luna of Shadowfang Pack, mated to one of the most powerful Alphas in the country, living in rooms that had belonged to his mother. It was overwhelming. She showered, washing away the dirt and tears from the forest, and changed into comfortable clothes from the closet. As she was braiding her damp hair, she felt Zander through the bond, a warm, steady presence that grounded her. A knock at the door connecting her suite to his. Maya? May I come in? Of course. Zander entered, and Maya's breath caught. He'd changed into dark jeans and a simple black shirt, his hair slightly damp from his own shower. He looked more relaxed than he had earlier, less the intimidating Alpha and more just a man. How are you settling in? He asked. It's a lot, Maya admitted. But Magda has been wonderful. The rooms are beautiful. Zander looked around with an expression that was hard to read. These were my mother's. I had them prepared for you because she would have loved you. I wanted you to have a space that was yours, at least until you're comfortable sharing mine. Tell me about her, Maya said. Your mother. Zander sat down on the edge of the bed, and after a moment's hesitation, Maya sat beside him. Her name was Arya. She was gentle and kind, everything my father wasn't. He was a hard man, a warrior through and through. She balanced him, made him better. How did she die? Protecting pack members during an attack, Zander said quietly. Rogues had breached our border. She could have retreated to safety, but there were pups in danger. She fought to protect them and was mortally wounded. I'm sorry, Maya said softly. She was brave, Zander said. And she believed in the mate bond above all else. She used to tell me that when I found my mate, I would understand what it meant to have someone worth dying for. He turned to look at Maya, his golden eyes intense. She was right. I've known you for less than a day, but I would burn the world down to keep you safe. The intensity of his words, of his gaze, made Maya's heart race. That's a lot of pressure. I don't mean it to be, Zander said. I just need you to understand that you're not alone in this, Maya. Whatever challenges come, whatever adjustments you need to make, I'm here. We're in this together. Together, Maya repeated, and the word felt like a promise. Xander's hand came up to cup her face, his thumb brushing across her cheek. Can I kiss you, little mate? Not because the bond demands it, but because I want to. In answer, Maya leaned in and closed the distance between them. The kiss was different from the one in the forest. That had been claiming possession, the snap of a mate bond falling into place. This was softer, sweeter, a getting-to-know-you kind of kiss that made Maya's toes curl. When they pulled apart, Zander rested his forehead against hers. I could get used to this. Me too, Maya admitted. They spent the evening talking, really talking, learning about each other. Zander told her about his long life, about the battles he'd fought, the losses he'd endured, the way the pack had changed over the decades. Maya told him about growing up in Silverpine, about her quiet life as an ordinary pack member, about her dreams of finding her mate and building a family. You'll have that, Zander promised. A family. A home. Everything you've ever wanted. I already have it, Maya said, looking around at her beautiful rooms, thinking about the pack members who had bowed to her. This is more than I ever dreamed of. This is just the beginning, Zander said. As the night grew late, Zander reluctantly stood to leave. I should let you rest. It's been a long day. Zander. Maya caught his hand. Thank you. For claiming me. For choosing me. For making me feel like I matter. Xander's expression softened. You've always mattered, Maya. The universe just needed to get you to the right place to realize it. He kissed her goodnight, a lingering touch of lips that promised more to come, and then he was gone, retreating to his own rooms through the connecting door. Maya lay in bed, her hand on the mark he'd left on her neck, and for the first time in as long as she could remember, she felt truly happy. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. Learning to be a Luna, navigating pack politics, figuring out her place in this new world. But tonight, she was just Maya Hale, a woman who had found her mate. And that was enough. Chapter 4. The Luna Rises. Maya woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows and, for a moment, forgot where she was. Then the events of the previous day came rushing back, and she pressed her hand to the mark on her neck, feeling the mate bond hum with life. She was in Shadowfang. She was Luna. She was Xander's mate. A soft knock at the door made her sit up. Come in, she called. Magda entered carrying a tray with breakfast. Good morning, Luna. I thought you might like to eat before facing the day. Thank you, Magda. Maya accepted the tray gratefully. You didn't have to do this. It's my pleasure, Magda said. The Alpha asked me to let you know he's been called to handle some border issues this morning, but he'll return by afternoon. He didn't want to wake you. Maya felt a flutter of disappointment. She'd been hoping to see Zander first thing, to ground herself in his presence before facing her new pack. But she understood. And Alpha's duties came first. In the meantime, Magda continued, I thought I could show you around the territory, introduce you to some of the key pack members. If you're up for it, that is. Maya straightened her shoulders. I am. I should start learning my way around. After breakfast and getting dressed in one of the beautiful dresses from the closet, Maya followed Magda on a tour of the Shadowfang compound. It was even more impressive in daylight. The multiple buildings served different purposes, from training facilities to a school for pack pups to a medical center. We're essentially a self-sustaining community, Magda explained. Most of our pack members live on the territory, though some maintain homes in the nearby human town for work or privacy. They visited the school first, where a dozen young wolves were in the middle of a lesson. The teacher, a woman named Sarah, bowed respectfully when Maya entered. Luna Maya, what an honor. Children, say hello to your new Luna. Hello, Luna Maya, the pups chorused, their young faces bright with curiosity. Maya smiled, feeling some of her nervousness ease. Hello. I'm sorry for interrupting your lesson. Not at all, Sarah said. We're delighted to meet you. The pack has been buzzing with the news since last night. One of the pups, a little girl with wild, curly hair, raised her hand. Luna Maya, is it true you found your mate bond yesterday? It is, Maya confirmed. That's so romantic, the girl sighed. Like a fairy tale. A little bit, Maya admitted, though the reality had been far messier than any fairy tale. They visited the training grounds next, where warriors were sparring under the watchful eye of a massive man Magda introduced as Kane, the pack's head warrior. Luna, Kane said, bowing his head. Welcome to Shadowfang. Thank you, Maya said, watching as two wolves circled each other in human form, testing each other's defenses. Your warriors are impressive. They're the best in the region, Kane said with obvious pride. If you ever want to train with us, you're more than welcome. Some Lunists prefer to focus on other pack duties, but others enjoy staying combat-ready. Maya hadn't been much of a fighter in her old pack. She'd done the basic training all wolves received, but nothing beyond that. But something about the idea appealed to her now. She was Luna of one of the strongest packs in the country. Maybe it was time she learned to be strong herself. I'd like that, she said. Kane's eyebrows rose in surprise, then he grinned. Excellent. We'll start whenever you're ready. Throughout the morning, Maya met dozens of pack members. Everyone was respectful, welcoming even, but she could sense their curiosity. She was an unknown quantity, an outsider who had appeared out of nowhere to become their Luna. She would have to prove herself worthy of the position. It was just after lunch when Magda led Maya to a building she identified as the pack's community center. There's someone here who's been particularly eager to meet you, Magda said with a mysterious smile. Inside, a young woman with bright red hair and an infectious grin was waiting. Luna Maya. Finally. I'm Kara, the pack's event coordinator, social director, and general busybody. Welcome to Shadowfang. Maya couldn't help but smile at Kara's enthusiasm. Thank you. It's nice to meet you. Oh, we're going to be best friends, I can tell already, Kara said, linking her arm through Maya's. Now, I know Magda has been giving you the official tour, but what you really need is the unofficial tour. The good stuff. Like where the best coffee in the pack house is, which warriors are single and dramatic, and where Alpha Zander goes when he needs to think. Kara, Magda said warningly. What? She's our Luna. She should know these things. Kara turned back to Maya. Also, we need to talk about the Luna ceremony. Luna ceremony? It's tradition, Kara explained. When a new Luna joins the pack, we hold a formal ceremony to introduce her to the pack and the neighboring alphas. It's basically a big party where you get to show off and everyone gets to meet you properly. Maya's stomach twisted with nerves. That sounds intimidating. It'll be fine, Kara assured her. You'll have Alpha Zander by your side, and we'll make sure you look absolutely stunning. Plus, it's a good opportunity to establish your place in the pack hierarchy. Show everyone that you're not just some random wolf the alpha picked up, you're a force to be reckoned with. I don't know if I'm a force to be reckoned with, Maya admitted. Kara studied her with surprisingly shrewd eyes. Maybe not yet, but you will be. Trust me, I can tell these things. Over the next few hours, Kara showed Maya around the parts of the territory Magda had skipped, the private gardens where pack members grew vegetables, the lake where the younger wolves liked to swim, the quiet grove where the pack held remembrance ceremonies for those who had passed. This place has been home to Shadowfang for over 200 years, Kara said as they walked. Every Luna leaves her mark on it in some way. Alpha Zander's mother started the school. His grandmother established the medical center. His great-grandmother created the community center. That's a lot to live up to, Maya said quietly. Or it's an opportunity to create your own legacy, Kara countered. What are you passionate about, Maya? What would you want to bring to the pack? Maya thought about it. Back in Silverpine, she'd always felt like her opinions didn't matter, like she was too insignificant to make a difference. But here, as Luna, she actually had power. She could create change. I don't know yet, she admitted. But I'll figure it out. That's the spirit, Kara said, grinning. They were walking back toward the main hall when Maya felt it, a surge of emotion through the mate bond. Anger. No fury. And it was coming from Zander. Something's wrong, Maya said, stopping in her tracks. What do you mean? Kara asked. But Maya was already running toward the main hall, following the pull of the bond. She burst through the doors to find Zander in the main room, his eyes full wolf gold, his body radiating tension. Several pack members were giving him a wide berth. Zander. Maya approached carefully. What happened? The moment Zander saw her, some of the fury in his expression eased. He crossed to her in 3 long strides and pulled her into his arms, burying his face in her neck, breathing in her scent. You're okay, he murmured. You're safe. Of course I'm safe, Maya said, confused. What's going on? Zander pulled back enough to look at her. I had a meeting with Alpha Grant. He contacted me about the border issues I was handling, but really, he wanted to discuss you. Me? Why? He suggested that perhaps our mate bond was hasty. That you might have been influenced by the emotional state you were in yesterday. Zander's eyes flashed. He actually had the audacity to suggest you might want to return to Silverpine to think things through. Maya felt anger spark in her own chest. He what? He claimed he was looking out for your best interests, Zander continued. Said that as a young wolf, you might not understand the implications of bonding with someone like me. He offered to facilitate an annulment if you wanted it. There's no annulment for true mate bonds, Maya said. He knows that. Exactly. Zander's jaw clenched. He was testing me, seeing if I would doubt the bond or doubt you. And when I made it clear that wasn't going to happen, he backed down quickly. Maya processed this, feeling the lingering anger through their bond. You thought something had happened to me. When you felt angry, you were worried I was in danger. I was worried Grant had sent someone to try to convince you to leave, Zander admitted. I was worried you might be having second thoughts, and I wouldn't be here to reassure you. The vulnerability in his voice made Maya's heart clench. This powerful alpha, feared and respected across the territory, was afraid of losing her. I'm not having second thoughts, Maya said firmly. And I'm not going anywhere. You're stuck with me, Zander Hale. Relief flooded through the bond. Zander pulled her close again, and Maya went willingly, wrapping her arms around his waist. I'm sorry, he murmured. I should have more control. I shouldn't have let Grant get to me. He insulted your mate, Maya said. You have every right to be angry. He insulted you, Zander corrected, suggesting you weren't capable of making your own decisions. Maya thought about that. Grant had always been dismissive of her in Silverpine, had treated her as insignificant. Of course, he would assume she couldn't handle being Luna of a powerful pack. But she could. She would. Let him think what he wants, Maya said. I'll prove him wrong. Zander pulled back to look at her, pride evident in his eyes. That's my Luna. The words sent warmth through her chest. She was his Luna. Not just in title, but in truth. Now, Zander said, his voice lighter. How was your morning? Magda said she was showing you around. It was good, Maya said. Everyone's been very welcoming. And I met Kara. Zander groaned. Kara found you already? I was hoping to have a few more days before she got her hooks in you. She's planning a Luna ceremony, Maya said. Of course she is. But Zander was smiling now. Kara lives for pack events. Just don't let her go overboard. The last ceremony she planned lasted 3 days and nearly bankrupted our entertainment budget. Maya laughed, and some of the tension from the confrontation with Grant eased away. This was her life now, pack politics and ceremonies, learning to be Luna, navigating the complications of werewolf society. But she had Zander. And that made everything bearable. Are you hungry? Zander asked. I haven't eaten since breakfast. Starving, Maya admitted. Come on then. Let me introduce you to the best part of being Alpha. The kitchen staff will make you anything you want, anytime you want it. As they walked toward the dining area, Zander's hand found hers, their fingers lacing together naturally. Maya looked up at him, this powerful, ancient alpha who had claimed her so fiercely, and felt something settle in her chest. This was home. Not the buildings or the territory, but this man beside her, this bond between them. She was exactly where she was meant to be. Chapter 5. Shadows from the Past. The next few days passed in a whirlwind of activity. Maya trained with Kane in the mornings, learning combat techniques she'd never been taught in Silverpine. She spent afternoons meeting with different pack departments, the medical team, the educators, the elders. Everyone wanted to know their new Luna, and Maya did her best to learn names and faces, to understand the pack's needs and concerns. Evenings were for Zander. They would have dinner together, sometimes in the formal dining room with pack leaders, sometimes in the privacy of his quarters. They talked about everything, his hopes for the pack's future, her ideas for programs she wanted to implement, the small details of their lives that made them who they were. And slowly, Maya felt herself falling more deeply in love with her mate. The mate bond was strong, yes, but it was more than that. It was the way Zander listened when she spoke, really listened, like her opinions mattered. It was how he supported her efforts to be a good Luna without trying to control or manage her. It was the small touches throughout the day, his hand on her back, a kiss to her temple, the way he always sought her out when he entered a room. It was also the way he respected her boundaries. They hadn't consummated the mate bond yet. They'd kiss, certainly. Heated, passionate kisses that left Maya breathless. But Zander never pushed for more, even though she could feel his desire through the bond. "I've waited over 200 years, he told her one night when she'd pulled back from a particularly intense kiss. "I can wait until you're ready." But Maya was starting to think she was ready. More than ready. The mate bond was pulling at her, urging her to complete the connection. And beyond that, she simply wanted him. Wanted to be close to him in every possible way. She was just working up the courage to tell him this when everything fell apart. It started with a phone call. Maya was in the Luna's office, a space Magda had shown her that had belonged to previous Lunas, reviewing budgets for the Pack school when Zander entered, his expression grim. "We have a problem," he said without preamble. Maya set down her papers. "What kind of problem?" "Ethan and Lydia are here. At our border. Requesting sanctuary." Maya's heart sank. "What?" "Why? I don't know yet. But they claim they're in danger and need protection." Zander's golden eyes were troubled. "I wanted to tell you before I dealt with them. If you don't want them here." "No," Maya interrupted. "If they're really in danger, we can't turn them away. Whatever happened between us, I wouldn't wish them harm." Pride flickered across Zander's face. "That's what I thought you'd say. You have a good heart, little mate." "I'm going with you," Maya said, standing. "If they're here, I should face them." Zander hesitated, then nodded. "All right. But stay close to me. We don't know what's really going on." They found Ethan and Lydia at the Pack house entrance, both looking worse for wear. Lydia's usually perfect hair was disheveled, and Ethan had a bruise forming on his jaw. They both looked exhausted and frightened. "Maya," Lydia said when she saw her, relief evident in her voice. "Thank the goddess." "What happened?" Maya asked, keeping her voice neutral. Ethan stepped forward. "It's Alpha, Grant. After you left, things in Silver Pine started changing." Grant became paranoid, convinced that more Pack members might leave, might find mates outside the Pack. He started implementing strict rules, punishments for anyone who questioned him. "That doesn't explain why you're here," Zander said coolly. Lydia's eyes welled with tears. "The mate bond between Ethan and me, it's not real. We figured it out a week ago. Whatever we felt at the wedding, it wasn't a true bond. It was, we don't know what it was. But it's fading, just like yours did with Ethan, Maya." Maya felt a jolt of surprise. "You're not mates." "No," Ethan said quietly. "And when we told Alpha Grant, when we said we wanted to dissolve the mating, he went insane. He said we were trying to make him look foolish, that he'd verified the bond himself and we were liars. He locked us up, said he'd hold us until we came to our senses. We escaped last night," Lydia continued. "And we ran. We didn't know where else to go." "Maya, I know I hurt you, I know I took your wedding, but please." "You don't need to beg," Maya said quietly. "If you're in danger, you're welcome here. Both of you." Zander's hand found her shoulder, his support steady through the bond. "However," he added, his alpha voice coming through, "you'll need to submit to a truth verification. I won't have my Pack used as a pawn in some scheme." "Of course," Ethan said quickly. "We'll do whatever you need." The truth verification was conducted by the Pack's eldest member, a woman named Helena who had the gift of sensing lies. She questioned Ethan and Lydia separately, asking about the false mate bond, about Grant's behavior, about their escape. When it was over, Helena approached Zander and Maya with her verdict. "They're telling the truth, Alpha. Every word of it." "Thank you, Helena," Zander said. He turned to Ethan and Lydia. "You're welcome to stay in Shadowfang as long as you need protection. We have guest quarters you can use. But I want to be clear, this doesn't mean we're interfering with Silver Pine's Pack business. Grant is still their Alpha. We understand, Ethan said. We're just grateful to be safe. As Magda led them away to get settled, Maya felt a tangle of emotions. Relief that they were safe. Anger at Grant for his behavior. And underneath it all, a strange sense of satisfaction that the bond between Ethan and Lydia had been false after all. Are you all right? Zander asked once they were alone. I think so, Maya said. It's just weird. Seeing them again. Knowing they went through what I did with the false bond. The moon goddess works in mysterious ways, Zander said. Perhaps they needed to experience that loss to understand what they put you through. Maybe. Maya looked up at him. Do you really think Grant has become dangerous? I think power without check can corrupt anyone, Zander said carefully. And Grant has always been traditional in his views. If he sees the changing mate bonds as a threat to pack stability, he might do drastic things. Should we warn the other packs? I'll reach out to the Regional Alpha Council, Zander decided. See if anyone else has noticed concerning behavior. But we need to be careful. Accusing an alpha of misconduct without proof can lead to territory wars. Over the next few days, more troubling news emerged. 2 more wolves from Silverpine arrived seeking sanctuary, both claiming Grant had become tyrannical. Then a wolf from a neighboring pack came with similar stories. Their alpha was implementing harsh rules, preventing wolves from leaving territory, punishing anyone who questioned authority. It's spreading, Zander said during a meeting with his advisors. Whatever is happening, it's affecting multiple packs. Kane, the head warrior, leaned forward. Could it be coordinated? Some kind of organized attempt to centralize power. Or, offered Marcus, Zander's beta, it could be a reaction to fear. The false mate bonds, the changing dynamics, alphas might be panicking, trying to maintain control. Maya, sitting at Zander's right hand as was her place, had been quiet through most of the meeting. But now she spoke up. What if it's something else entirely? What if the false bonds aren't random? Everyone turned to look at her. Explain, Zander said gently. Think about it, Maya said. Ethan and I felt a bond for 3 years. It only broke when Lydia came of age. Then Ethan and Lydia felt a bond, but it was also false. What if someone or something is manipulating mate bonds? That's not possible, one of the elders said. The mate bond is sacred, created by the moon goddess herself. Is it though? Maya pressed. We always assume the bonds are divine, but what if they can be influenced? What if someone has found a way to create false bonds? Zander's eyes had gone sharp. If that were possible, the implications would be enormous. Wolves could be manipulated into bonding with anyone. Pack alliances could be forged or broken. The entire foundation of our society could be undermined. Which would certainly make alphas paranoid, Marcus added. If they thought mate bonds could be faked, they'd be suspicious of everyone. We need to investigate this, Zander decided. Quietly. If there's even a chance Maya is right, we need to know. The meeting adjourned, but Maya's theory had planted seeds of concern. That night, as she and Zander sat in his study going over reports from other packs, the weight of it all pressed down on her. This is bigger than I thought, she admitted. When I suggested the bonds might be manipulated, I was just thinking out loud. But if it's true, then we'll deal with it, Zander said firmly. Together. He stood and crossed to her, pulling her up from her chair and into his arms. Maya went willingly, resting her head against his chest, listening to his steady heartbeat. I'm glad you're here, she said softly. I don't think I could handle all of this alone. You're stronger than you think, Zander said. But you'll never have to handle it alone. That's what mates are for. Maya tilted her head back to look at him. The bond between them thrummed with warmth, with certainty. Whatever was happening with the false bonds, whatever chaos was spreading through the packs, this, what she had with Zander, was real. I love you, she said, the words spilling out before she could second-guess them. Zander's expression softened. I love you too, little mate. More than I thought possible to love anyone. When he kissed her this time, it was different. Deeper. More urgent. Maya's hands slid up into his hair, pulling him closer, and she felt desire spike through the bond, his and hers both. Maya, Zander's voice was rough. If you don't stop me now, I won't be able to hold back. Then don't, Maya whispered against his lips. I'm ready, Zander. I want this. I want you. The last threads of Xander's control snapped. He lifted her into his arms effortlessly and carried her through the connecting door into his bedroom, a room she'd never entered before. It was masculine and warm, dominated by a massive bed. What followed was tender and passionate and perfect. Zander was gentle with her, patient, making sure she was ready for each new intimacy. And when they finally joined completely, the mate bond exploded into something transcendent. Maya could feel Xander's soul twining with hers, could feel the connection becoming permanent and unbreakable. Afterward, they lay tangled together, both breathless and satisfied. Xander pressed kisses to her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. Mine, he murmured. Finally, completely mine. Yours, Maya agreed. Always. As she drifted off to sleep in her mate's arms, Maya felt more complete than she ever had in her life. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever mysteries they needed to solve, they would face them together. Because that was what mates did. Chapter 6: Truth and Consequences. The investigation into the false mate bonds led Zander and Maya to an ancient library in the territory of the oldest wolf pack in North America. The Silverwood Pack had records dating back hundreds of years, including texts on magic and mate bond lore that most packs had long forgotten. Elder Thomas, the keeper of the library, was a wizened wolf who claimed to be over 300 years old. He listened to Maya's theory with increasing interest. There is a precedent, he said finally. Dark magic, used centuries ago by a wolf witch who wanted to control pack alliances. She could create false bonds between wolves, manipulate their attractions. How was she stopped? Zander asked. She was killed, Thomas said bluntly. But her knowledge survived. The spells, the rituals required to create false bonds. We assumed that knowledge had been lost, but perhaps someone found it. Who would have access to such information? Maya asked. Someone with power, Thomas said. And more importantly, someone with motive. Creating false bonds requires not just magic, but sacrifice. Blood magic. It's not something done lightly. The pieces started to fall into place. The panicked alphas, the strict rules, the attempts to control pack members. If someone was creating false bonds to destabilize packs, they were succeeding. We need to find out who's behind this, Zander said. But the answer found them instead. 2 days after their visit to the library, Alpha Grant himself appeared at Shadowfang's border, demanding entry. He had a dozen warriors with him, all armed and aggressive. This isn't going to end well, Kane muttered as he and Zander prepared to meet Grant. Stay with the pack, Zander told Maya. If things go south, I need you safe. But Maya shook her head. I'm Luna. My place is beside you. Zander looked like he wanted to argue, but pride and love warred in his expression. Finally, he nodded. Stay close. They met Grant in the neutral territory between their borders. The Silverpine Alpha looked haggard, almost manic. You've been harboring my pack members, Grant snarled without preamble. That's an act of aggression, Alpha Hale. They came seeking sanctuary from an unstable alpha, Zander replied calmly. That's their right. Unstable? Grant laughed, the sound unhinged. I'm the only one seeing clearly. The mate bonds are being corrupted. Our very way of life is under attack. You're right about that, Maya said, stepping forward despite Xander's protective instinct through the bond. The bonds are being manipulated. Someone is using dark magic to create false bonds. Grant's eyes locked on her. You. This all started with you. What? You and your false bond with Ethan, Grant continued. And then Lydia. 2 false bonds, both connected to you. You're the source of this corruption. That's insane, Zander growled. Maya is the daughter of traitors. Grant interrupted. Did you know that, Alpha Hale? Her parents tried to overthrow our pack order before they were executed. What if she's finishing what they started? What if she's the witch creating these false bonds? Maya felt like she'd been slapped. My parents weren't witches. And I'm certainly not. But Grant wasn't listening. I should have killed you when I had the chance. You were always a contamination in the pack, always a reminder of rebellion and disorder. And now you've infected everything. He lunged. Zander moved faster than Maya had ever seen him move, intercepting Grant before he could reach her. The two alphas collided with earth-shaking force, both partially shifting, claws and fangs emerging. No! Maya screamed, but Kane was already there, pulling her back as the two alphas fought. Let them work it out, Kane said grimly. Grant challenged your mate. This is alpha business now. The fight was brutal but short. Grant was powerful, but Zander had centuries of experience and the protective fury of a mate defending his Luna. Within minutes, Zander had Grant pinned, his teeth at the other alpha's throat. Yield, Zander commanded. For a long moment, Grant struggled. Then, finally, I yield. Zander released him but didn't step back. You will never threaten my mate again, Grant. If you do, I will kill you. Do you understand? Grant nodded, blood dripping from various wounds. Now, Zander continued, his voice deadly calm. You're going to tell us everything you know about these false bonds. And you're going to do it truthfully, or I'll let my Luna decide your fate. What Grant revealed was damning. He hadn't created the false bonds, but he'd known about them. He'd known that someone was manipulating mate bonds across multiple packs, and instead of warning anyone, he'd tried to use the chaos to consolidate his own power. Who's behind it? Maya demanded. Who has the magic to create false bonds? I don't know, Grant insisted. I swear I was only trying to protect my pack from the instability. But Zander wasn't satisfied. He took Grant into custody and contacted the Regional Alpha Council. Within days, a full investigation was underway. And that's when they found the truth. It wasn't a single witch. It was a group, wolves who believed the mate bond system was archaic, who wanted to prove that bonds could be manipulated, that the sacred connections weren't divine at all. They'd been experimenting on wolves for years, creating false bonds to study them. Ethan and Maya had been one of their experiments. So had Ethan and Lydia. When Maya learned this, she felt violated. Her bond with Ethan, her pain, her ruined wedding, all of it had been a manipulation. An experiment. Hey, Zander said softly, finding her alone in the gardens. Talk to me. They played with my life, Maya said, tears streaming down her face. 3 years of thinking I'd found my mate, planning a future, and it was all fake. All part of someone's experiment. I know, Zander pulled her close. And they'll pay for it. The council is hunting them down as we speak. It makes me doubt everything, Maya admitted. If that bond was fake, how do I know ours is real? How do I know I'm not being manipulated right now? Zander pulled back to look at her, his hands framing her face. Because I feel it, Maya. The truth of us. It's nothing like what I've heard others describe about false bonds. Those fade, those feel incomplete. What I feel for you grows stronger every day. But how can I be sure? Because I choose you, Zander said firmly. Even if the bond disappeared tomorrow, even if the moon goddess herself said we weren't mates, I would still choose you. Every day, for the rest of my life, I would choose you. The words broke through Maya's doubt. Because that was the difference, wasn't it? A false bond was just a feeling, a manipulation. But what she had with Zander was a choice. A commitment. Love that went deeper than any magical connection. I choose you too, Maya whispered. And she knew it was true. 6 months later. The Luna ceremony was everything Kara had promised, beautiful, elegant, and just a little over the top. Maya stood beside Zander in the Great Hall, wearing a dress of midnight blue that Kara had commissioned specially for the occasion. Around them, alphas from every pack in the region had gathered to formally recognize her as Luna of Shadowfang. The investigation into the false bonds had ended with several arrests and new protocols for identifying bond manipulation. Ethan and Lydia had both found their true mates, wolves from other packs who they'd met during the chaos. They'd apologized to Maya, genuinely this time, and she'd forgiven them. Alpha Grant had been removed from his position, with a new alpha taking over Silverpine. The pack was healing, and several members had expressed interest in joining Shadowfang under Maya's leadership. Maya's parents had even visited, tentatively rebuilding their relationship with their daughter. They'd been shocked by her new position, by the powerful mate she'd found, but slowly they were learning to accept it. "Ready?" Zander murmured as the ceremony began. "Ready," Maya confirmed. One by one, the visiting alphas came forward to formally acknowledge her as Luna. Some she'd met before. Others were new. But all of them showed her respect, recognizing the power she'd grown into over the past 6 months. Because Maya wasn't the same broken woman who'd fled into the forest in a ruined wedding dress. She was Luna of Shadowfang. She'd helped solve the mystery of the false bonds, had been instrumental in bringing the perpetrators to justice, had already implemented programs that were helping her pack thrive. She'd found her purpose. After the formal recognitions, the ceremony transformed into a celebration. Music filled the hall and pack members danced and feasted. Maya circulated through the crowd, comfortable now in her role, confident in her place. "Your mother would be proud," an elderly voice said beside her. Maya turned to find Elder Helena, who'd verified Ethan and Lydia's truth months ago. "You knew Zander's mother?" "I did," Helena said. "She was a good Luna. Kind but strong. I see the same qualities in you." "Thank you," Maya said, touched by the comparison. "She also told me something once," Helena continued. "She said that the best Lunas were the ones who came to it unexpectedly, who had to fight to claim their place. Those who had something to prove made the strongest leaders." Maya thought about that. She'd certainly come to this position unexpectedly. And she definitely had something to prove, to her old pack, to herself, to everyone who doubted her. "I think she was right," Maya said. Later, as the celebration wound down, Zander pulled Maya out onto the balcony. The moon was full and bright, illuminating the Shadowfang territory spread out below them. "Happy?" Zander asked, wrapping his arms around her from behind. "Incredibly," Maya said, leaning back into his embrace. "Though I never imagined my life would turn out like this." "No?" Zander's lips brushed her neck, right over the mark that proclaimed her his. "Not even when you were standing in that clearing in a ruined wedding dress?" Maya laughed. "Especially not then. I thought my life was over. I thought I'd lost everything. Instead, you found everything," Zander said. "Found yourself. Found your strength. Found me." "Found us," Maya corrected, turning in his arms to face him. "That's the important part. Us." Zander's expression softened. "I have something to tell you." "Oh, I spoke with the council this week. They want to expand the Regional Alpha Alliance, create a more unified leadership structure. And they've asked me to lead it." Maya's eyes widened. "Zander, that's incredible. You'd essentially be overseeing all the packs in the region." "I would," Zander agreed. "But I told them I needed to discuss it with my Luna first. This would affect you too. More responsibilities, more politics, more demands on our time." Maya thought about it. 6 months ago, she would have been terrified by such a prospect. But now? "I think we should do it," she said. "We've already proven we can handle challenges together. And think of the good we could do, the changes we could implement across multiple packs." Zander's smile was brilliant. "That's exactly what I thought you'd say. You know, you're becoming quite the politician, Luna." "Maya. I learned from the best," Maya said. As they kissed under the moonlight, Maya reflected on how far she'd come. From rejected Omega to powerful Luna. From heartbroken and humiliated to loved and respected. From thinking her mate had chosen her sister to finding a mate who chose her every single day. The moon goddess worked in mysterious ways indeed. But Maya wouldn't change a single moment of her journey. Because every heartbreak, every humiliation, every tear had led her here, to Zander, to Shadowfang, to the life she was meant to live. "I love you," she whispered against his lips. "I love you too, little mate," Zander replied. "Forever." And Maya believed him. Because unlike the false bond she'd experienced with Ethan, unlike the manipulation and lies, what she had with Zander was real. It was tested. It was chosen. It was true. The end.